What do you think about the DNC? You're a former Democrat, made the transition to America First. I, I mean, Pelosi's rhetoric I thought was horrible. I played some sound bites from Pelosi, who doesn't seem to be, she is ratcheting up this rhetoric, talking about declaring war on Trump and how he's a threat to democracy. And not only that, getting up there on the convention stage last night in primetime, talking about how we're the saviors of democracy. I mean, my God, that unbelievable, shameless propaganda there. And then Michelle Obama, a couple of nights ago, using the platform to further divide the country. I just think the Democrats are missing the mark. And to tie it back to my open I've been like following the poly market betting odds because I look at the polls too, but I like to see what the betting odds are. And as the convention is drawn on and the American people see more of who the Democrats are and what they have to offer, although they're not offering much in the way of policy prescriptions, Trump's expanding his lead on the betting odds. So now he's like up 7. It was just tied yesterday. So what do you think about all this crazy?
Well, I think what most Americans are understanding right now is that, while most of us appreciate that, politicians lied, no big shock there, the audacity of the lies, the very transparency of the fact that they are going so far with their lies are actually a little bit scary. Because when you start getting to this level of like Soviet line and Iraq Saddam Hussein line or North Korea line, then that suggests there's something really, really rotten in your political process or in the political party. We all can appreciate a good liar there, here or there with a politician, but this is going beyond that.
How about
so
this?
We're hearing,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
For instance.
All right.
That's a good impression, by the way.
Was it okay? I was working on it. I was working on it in the mirror before we came on tonight.
Look, and that actually gets, I think, to the other part of why the odds might be changing. If you look at the Democrat Party back in 1996 and 2008 at the DNC platform, and then you can compare it to today. So again, we had Clinton and Obama on the stage this week. If you look at their America and you can compare it today, wildly different. And I think that's what the American people are really wising up to. So let's just take a moment just on one issue, immigration. I want to read for you where the Democrats stood back in 1996. And for folks out there, if you're thinking that, hey, God, weren't the Democrats sort of sane on the lots of issues like immigration? Yes, let's remind ourselves of that. This is from back again in 1996. We must remain a nation of laws. We cannot tolerate illegal immigration, and we must stop it. For years before Bill Clinton became president, Washington talked tough about the border, but they might as well have not existed. The border was under-patrolled, and where there were patrols, they were under-equipped. Drugs flowed freely. Illegal immigration was rampant. Criminal immigrants deported after they committed crimes in America returned the very next day to commit crimes again. Bill Clinton is going to make sure that we stop that the law is respected, that drugs and illegal immigrants are turned away. That's the Democrat Party not too terribly long ago. Do you think that Bill Clinton would have said those words this week?
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Again, if we go forward a little bit more in time, not that long ago to when Obama ran for the first time, here's what he said. We cannot continue to allow people to enter the United States undetected, undocumented, and unchecked. The American people are a welcoming and generous people, but those who enter our country's borders illegally, those who employ them as well, disrespect the rule of law. We need to secure our borders and support additional personnel on the border. So take those two bookends from 96 and 08, and you think about the men who said those words, who believed those words, who promoted that in their party, Bill Clinton and Obama, men who were on the stage this week who would never say those words again. I think that that's really important that the American people understand, and I think they are understanding that Democrats used to be different. What I just read to you was the Democrat Party that I used to belong to, and that I think most reasonable people would have agreed with them, actually. And that's not the party anymore. And that's really important for us all to wake up and understand. We're not dealing with the old Democrats. We are dealing with the radicalized version that actually want to destroy the country through things like open borders. And that's the honest to God truth. No matter how many times they try to gaslight us into thinking otherwise.
Brian, the Democrats used to be the party of the working class. I come from half of my family Union Democrats and Western Pennsylvania Union Democrats. My grandfather, remember when I was a kid, my parents trying to talk him off the ledge about voting for Bill Clinton, and didn't matter. Like, he was never going to change his registration, even though hung an American flag outside his house, loved America. Wasn't the biggest fan of Bill Clinton in the world, but he just believed that the Democrats were the party of the little guy. And that, when you're talking about illegal immigration, and illegal immigration disproportionately hurts our working class.
And Democrats used to argue that.
Exactly. Yes. They used to argue it. And when you look at this new jobs number that came out, and I reported on it a couple days before I think CNN and stuff started coming out and talking about it, about this potential revision of jobs from, I think, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics over this last year, 818,000 to maybe even 1 million jobs revised downwards. So basically every report that we saw this year was overly inflated. Someone somewhere was definitely cooking the books. And oh, by the way, this happens, and it's happening in an election year. Just one too many coincidences, right?
Yeah.
But the Democrats aren't the party of the working class anymore. And when you look at that jobs number that I just cited, and you look at all the millions of people coming across our border, a lot of these jobs, the jobs that are being created in America, are going to illegal aliens and migrants, are they not?
No, that is absolutely what the data show. The other piece that's important that was buried in that data are the jobs that are being created are largely government jobs and those in the medical care industry. Neither of those two things are really great news. One, because the government jobs are the main driver of growth. And that's bad. We are not a communist nation, at least not yet. Second, in terms of medical jobs, that means that the country is actually getting sicker. And so we need more people either to take care of us or in the bureaucracy of the medical industry. That's not good news either. So that is both bad. Also, what we know, the economists are telling us, Reuters News and Service and others have said this country has to create 200,000 jobs per month to take care of the 8+ million illegals who have come into this country. So what the revised job numbers show us that we are about 173,000 on average each month over the past year, or at least through April. That is short of the 200,000 that we need just for the illegals. So the data that we are seeing are just flashing red in terms of our economy across the board. So you were absolutely right to point out the hypocrisy amongst the Democrat Party, which used to be for the working guy, the working class. No longer they are for illegal migrants to then not only depress wages, but then the anemic number of jobs that are being created aren't enough for all the new illegals. So it really is just an absolute disaster economically across the board. And that's not an opinion. That really is data. Economists are pointing this out, that we have set ourselves up for a huge problem with all these illegals, which is why deportation becomes so very important.
Whether you live at the beach, are going to one, or just want to imagine yourself there, Red Beach Nation has the comfy, patriotic apparel for the occasion. Founded by a former counterterrorism officer and war veteran of both the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, Red Beach Nation is committed to upholding the American values and principles that we all hold so dear. So grab your swag and rep the nation. Visit redbeachnation.com and use the promo code on your screen to save 10% off. Again, that's redbeachnation.com.